Hi everyone, new video today. Just want to explain this real quick before I get into it so that you understand what's going on because it's a bit different than what I normally do. Part 1 is general Nest install. If all you need to do is replace the thermostat and have all the wiring to be the exact same and you don't care about having to replace batteries, just follow that, you're good, you can forget about everything else. Part 2 is going to be dealing with AC wiring. So if you're wanting to hook up a ground so that you don't have to replace batteries as often, feel free to look at that. Part 3 is going to be dealing with getting them all the software hooked up and Home Assistant working. So choose which parts you're interested in. Hope you find this helpful and have a wonderful day. So the first step of this is to turn that guy off. Doing so will cut power to this box, which will prevent power from going to the thermostats, which will prevent us from blowing a fuse that we then have to replace. So all we're going to do is to come to this switch right here and flip it. You hear that cut off. You go in here and see that there's no blinky lights and you're good to begin. All right, so the paint that I had to put on here is dried. So now I can go ahead and install the backing plate. So the way we're gonna do this is put this over the wire. It's kind of difficult to do one-handed. Pull the wire out a little bit so you have some slack, and then go ahead and get that top screw in most of the way, but not all the way, and then it'll do the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back. All right, so as you can see here, I have it mostly installed, the top screw's in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get that bottom one mostly installed too. And the reason I'm not going all the way is so that I can use this level that there is at the top to get it level. All right, so now that I have both screws most of the way in, I'm just gonna shimmy this back and forth until that levels nice and level. Looks about right, and then I'm going to tighten them down. Now it's important to not over tighten them to avoid damaging the drywall, so just make sure you're careful. Now to actually hook these wires up, you're going to take each one, and they mostly just go with the colors like I was showing above. So this red one is going to go in the red slot right here. You're just going to push this tab on the outside down and slide it in. And then the green one will go in the green one. Same installation method. Just slide that on in there. And these will stay partially down in my experience. So yeah. Now I'm gonna actually cut these back some so there's not as much exposed. It probably doesn't matter too much, but I just think it'll make there be a slightly lower chance of a short. So I'm gonna go get my wire strip. So I trimmed them back a little bit, and I also went ahead and got this black wire unwound so that I can get that hooked up for a common. So I'm just going to put them on their slots. I already showed you how they go in, and I'll show you when it's done. Now in theory these are all color coded and ready to go, but I took a picture beforehand so I could verify, and you always want to make sure to do that. Also, just so you know, this around it is going to get cleaned up. I just wanted to get this installed so I had AC before I did that. Now that it's done, we're going to take the Nest Thermostat and just pop it on. Now, since we connect to common, we can take the batteries out because it should be powered entirely off the 24 volts that this is sending over the red wire. Take that off, and then we're going to go turn that heat pump that we turned off earlier back on. So here we are at the switch. I'm going to flip it. We got lights on. There's like that. Status indicator saying good. Come over here to the thermostat. And looks like we have power of some sort. Maybe. I'd taken the batteries out of these to, so that we wouldn't have to replace them, but apparently those are used for backup power as well. So this means you just need to put those batteries in. So I'm gonna pull this guy off, take it over here, pop these batteries on in, and now it should just fire right up. Let's see. Unfortunately, it appears to want the rest of the setup to be done in the Google Home app. Woohoo! Time to install that. So at one point in time, instead of this being a Nest thermostat, it was this old thing. And it worked, but couldn't control it, and I wanted to connect it to Home Assistant, so I needed to take it out. Now, I made sure to take a picture of how the wires ran into the back of this. I'll include that here so that when I come over to the heater up here where the control box is, I could see what's what. Let me get the flashlight on so you can actually see what's going on here. So on the right side of the board, at least in the case of my board, are the thermostat hookups along here. Left side are dampener controls, and then we have some status LEDs and other random electrical stuff that I'm not going to go into. But what you need to make sure is that your wires are connected where they should be on both sides. So G is going to control your fan. C, that's common for ground. R, that's your power. Yellow and orange, I forget exactly which ones those are. I will include a full diagram here. But the main thing is you want the things that say what they are to be connected to what they are on the other side, if that makes any sense. So the green one here connects to the green one on the other side. Now, the upstairs one is this guy. So here we can see I have the green wire going into green, yellow going into, see if I can show you the letter there, Y1. Can you see that? Mostly. White going into W1, black going into common, and R going into red, and red going into R. If we come back over here and I pull this off, you can see the wires behind it. You can see here I have the same thing, red going to red, green going to G, white going to W, black going to C, and yellow going to Y. Now this OB, that's for heat pump stuff. We don't have one of those in this house, so I'm not hooking that up. But if you did, you just plug that into there, and you're gonna have to go look up another video because I'm not gonna try to teach you about something that I don't know how to do. Okay, so now we're gonna go over the software and how this works. So the first step is you're just going to get Google Home installed and set up. You're going to choose an account. We've got that hidden for obvious reasons. Then it's going to make you need to turn on Bluetooth. Turn that on. You have to give it location access. I don't like this, but it's just how it is. Then you can add your address. You don't have to. If you're planning to just use Google Home app, probably should, but I'm using Home Assistant, so I'm not going to bother with it. Then you're just going to go to add a device and click plus device, then search for device, and it'll go do a search thing, and you're just going to click through next on this. Then you're going to choose thermostat, and then I've got 4th gen thermostat, so you just click that, and you have to let it use the camera here because it needs to scan the QR code on the back of the thermostat. And so you just pull that off, get it scanned, and then the app mostly just walks you through it, and it's also got a pretty good wiring walkthrough too if you just want to use that for the wiring. But yeah, you just have to click through, accept, and say if you have this stuff set up or not. Quick note, if you moved into a place and there was a Nest thermostat, like I did, and it's asking you this question and you were to hit yes, like I did, it's going to make you restart the whole thing and you have to factory reset that old Nest thermostat. Bit of a pain, but not too bad. You just navigate through the menu. There's plenty of stuff on Google for how to do that, so I'm not going to cover that here. And then you just add that through the Nest app. Now that part is an extreme pain. I'm not going to cover that. It was very difficult to get footage of that because the Nest app was terrible, but once that's in, you do a Nest migration over to Google Home and blah, blah, blah. But hopefully you aren't having to deal with an old Nest thermostat, you're just dealing with a new one, in which case you just hit go ahead, continue with it, and you're all good. And then, yeah, you're chilling. Alright, so now that we've got it connected, we have to put in the wiring information. Here, put up the handy dandy wiring diagram again, and you can go back to the video to refer to it, but I'm just filling out my stuff here. And then we'll move on into the next stage right now, where you just go through the configuration. So you hit next, and then it's going to do a connecting thing again, because of course it has to. And now you go and select whatever language you want, and there's more loading. Then you're going to do a quick power test. And now you just fill out all the things about your setup. So you're just going through, clicking through these. This is just based on what you know from your AC. I don't know which one yours is, so yeah, you're just going to have to set it up based on how your house is set up. The next step is to decide whether you want your AC set to heating or cooling. You can easily change this in the app, so it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, go ahead and select that. And then you're going to go ahead and get Wi-Fi set up. So I've got this all blurred out, and honestly, from this point on, I'm just going to let you handle it yourself. It's all things about if you want like fancy learning stuff about how you want things to track energy usage or whatever. I'm not doing any of that because I'm just going to use Home Assistant to control it, so that's on y'all. But hope you're able to get it set up to the point where you're able to get to Home Assistant. Alright, so I am in my server here. You can see I already have 4 Dockers. I'm going to add another. So I am going to go to the apps, I believe it is. Yep. And in here, I'm just going to look for Home Assistant. So this is going to install the Docker container, where technically, sometimes it can be a little better to run this in a VM because you can add some additional just add-ons and stuff, but I believe you can still install that in Unraid. I haven't actually done this before, so we'll see. But yeah, I think this is generally how it works. So network type, I'm going to leave this to this, core of that, repository, sure, leave that normal. I'm just going to stick with all defaults and apply. We're going to see if this works. Alright, so it finished installing. I actually had to update my own RAID because I was on 6 point something. Now I'm on 7 point something. That was kind of nerve-wracking, but we're good to go. And now I should be able to click done and go back to Docker. And Home Assistant is now showing up. So I should be able to click on this. I'm going to set it to auto start because I want it on. And go to the web UI. So now we're going to go through here. I'm going to create my smart home. Okay, so to do the actual Home Assistant part of this, what we're going to need to do is open up the Google Cloud Console, the Device Access Console, and Home Assistant. So we're going to start in the Google Cloud Console and go select a project, new project, and I'm going to name it Nest Automation. Leave your parent resource to no organization. Once it's created, you're going to go to APIs and Services. Then in here, you're going to search Smart Device Management API and enable this. And then you're going to search cloud/pub/sub and API, and you're going to enable this API. Then you're going to go to OAuth consent screen and click Get Started. Now go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to call it Nest Automation. Then put in your email address. Then set it to external audience. Contact information needs to be filled out. Just put in your email address again. And then agree to the conditions. Then after you hit create, you'll be given this screen. Now what you need to do is go to audience and go ahead and publish the app. Now, this is fine to do because the only people, as I understand it, who can actually access this app are people who you basically give access, and you're the one who's going to have access, and it's not going to show up in any sort of like marketplace, so it'll be fine. After you do that, you're going to go to clients, and you're going to create a client, and it's going to be a web application. I'm going to name this Home Assistant, and then you need to add a particular Home Assistant URL that I'm about to go find. Alright, so the URL you want is this guy, https :/my.home-assistant.io/redirect/OAuth. Now we're going to go ahead and click create. It's going to give you this screen, and you need to make sure you record this secret. You should also go ahead and record the ID. You will be able to find that later, but it is incredibly important that you keep this secret because you will never ever be able to see the secret again. This is your one time. Please be careful and write it down. Okay, now that that's set up, we're going to go to the Device Access Console. You can get here just by searching Google Device Access Console, and then it is a $5 fee to be able to do this. It's a one-time fee, and then after that it'll just work. Then here you're going to click Create Project, and I'm going to call this Nest Automation, again, because it's simple. Now take that OAuth client ID and go ahead and put it in here. Then do not enable events. If you click enable events, it's not going to let you create the project. That will get figured out by Home Assistant later. So go ahead and just click create project. And then it's gone ahead and opened up. Alright, now that we have all that other stuff set up in the Google things, we're going to go back to Home Assistant and click settings, then devices and services, then add integration, then search for Nest and click Google, find Google Nest. Then we're going to click submit. And now we need to go ahead and put in a name. We're going to call this just Nest Automation. keep things simple. And now you need that OAuth client ID and client secret. So you're going to go ahead and copy those from where you wrote them down and click Add. Now I need to get your product IDs. So go back to the Google Cloud Console thing and you're going to just click Nest Automation, the top left, or whatever you need it, and you're going to copy this ID right here. And you're going to click Submit, and now you're going to go get your device access project ID. And that's back in the Google Device Access Console. Going to copy the project ID from right here, paste that in here, and click Submit. Then it'll take you to this screen. You're going to select your account. You're going to click all the permissions on. Then you're going to click Advanced, go to homeassistant.io, select all, continue, link account, and then create new topic. And then now you need to enable events. So you're going to copy this and go to the device access console right here. Then you're going to go to enable events and set the pub sub topic name to this. Oops, supposed to be a P there. Then hit add and validate. Okay, and now click confirm here, and then just create a subscription. Not gonna like cost money or anything, it's just a subscription, talk to things. Then all these are already named for me, so skip and finish. And now you should be able to go in and everything should be set up. So I can see here that the attic thermostat is off. If I go to this climate integration I had before, that's in here. If I click this down, then in theory it should turn on. And yeah, it's hooked up. So great job if you got this working. Hope you love it, and please hit like, get subscribed. Gonna keep creating cool content like this to try to make things that help people out and are interesting. Thanks for watching.